When I went to BA, I felt the pace was pedestrian compared to what I'd been used to at Aer Lingus. And Aer Lingus was pedestrian compared to Ryanair. So I wasn't saying that Aer Lingus was a great role model from that, but we had picked up the pace a lot at Aer Lingus, and I felt that BA needed to really shake it up. There was I've got this little group together to do a review of the management structure and to make a recommendation to me as to how we should restructure it. And they came up with this idea that a third of the management, we should reduce the management size by 1/3, And they kept going on about a third, 33 and a third %. And I said, well, how did you come up with this figure? And one of the guys said, we just thought it'd be funny to hear the Irish guy saying 33 and a third, So I said, I can be even funnier than that, and I made it 50%. So, so that made an impact. It's one of the things I say to people: don't ever be afraid of making mistakes, because I've met some fantastic people. I've met people who are much brighter than me, much better than me. I describe them as better leaders, better business people, but they are afraid of making mistakes, and as a result, they will never, ever see their full potential, because they always hold back. They'll always fear getting it wrong, and that's something I don't have a fear of making a mistake, and I think that maybe enables me to go a little bit further than others. And I think you only know your true potential when you've actually made a mistake, and then the real lesson is, can you learn from that mistake?
What mistakes did you identify at BA?
Well, the biggest one of them all was the opening of T5. That was a mistake on a global scale.
Chaos.
It was not pretty.
You said your responsibility. The buck stops here.
Yeah, it was. That was the worst day of my life. You cannot believe the emotions I felt on that day. What should have been a great day. And I knew it was going wrong. I was at the airport at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I knew it was going wrong very early on. And we were holding it together. And then it was the classic case of, there were people holding back information because they didn't want me to know just how bad it was. So I didn't have the full picture, but I knew it was bad. And it was only later on that I realized just how bad it was. And I've done this twice, but it was the second time. The first time actually was only a minor issue, when I got really angry in the office when I was in Futura, and I decided I was being unhelpful. So I actually left the office and went home. The second time in my life that I've done that, and I haven't done it since, was on that day when I was in the office, and I said to the guys, look, I cannot be of any value here because I'm just outraged, I'm furious, and I'm not thinking straight. So I went home. I probably had about 2 hours sleep, so I went home, and I thought I was going to add more value by being away from it and leave the team to deal with the issues. And I got a phone call at about 5 o'clock to say, based on what they're seeing, they reckon they were going to have to cancel 50% of the flights the following day. And I said, guys, listen, you do not want me to come back into the office, but there's no way you're cancelling 50% of the flights. So I said, if you say to me you're cancelling 50% of the flights, I'm coming back in. So they hung up, and they phoned me back and they said, look, we can't operate a full schedule. We're going to have to cancel flights. We're going to cancel 33% of the flights. So I thought, here comes the joke again. So I said, is that the best we can do? And they said, look, that is the very best we can do. I said, okay, if you think that's what we need to do, go ahead. So I went in the following day. I was in the office at about 6 o'clock at, it was, Jesus, turn on a radio, television, pick up a newspaper. It was awful. And I was talking to my head of communications. She's now my chief of staff, Julia Simpson. Fantastic, great person. And I said to Julia, I said, look, Julia, I'm going to go over to T5 and do some interviews. And she said, Willie, I've got to give you advice. You cannot do that. I said, Julia, somebody has to do it. I said, we're being murdered here. I've got to do it. And she said, what are you going to say? I said, I have no idea. But I said, I'll know what I'm going to say when I get over there. And she said, well, give me a few minutes. I said, no, I don't want you to line people up. I don't want this orchestrated. I'm just going to go into the terminal building. I'm going to meet the press and I'm going to talk to them. So she said, okay, I'll go across with you. So it's about a 5-minute drive from my office to T5. And she's in the car with me. And she said, look, what are you going to say? I said, honestly, I don't know. But I said, I know I'll know what to say when I get there. I said, Jesus. She said, I'm really nervous about this. So she said, "But why don't you use terms like, it wasn't our finest hour?" And I look at her and I go, yeah. Okay, I'll see, can I get away with that one, So I go, and it was actually the first, they had cameras all over the place, journalists, and the first journalist, I'm pretty sure it was Tom Simons from the BBC, and he sticks the microphone in my face. "So, Mr. Walsh, whose fault is this?" And I go, "It's my fault." And what I thought was about 10 minutes of silence followed, as he stood there looking at me, and the rest of the journalists started laughing, because clearly he wasn't expecting that answer. And I thought, oh, I said the right thing. And he said, "So it's your fault. So you're going to resign?" I said, "No, I'm not going to resign. I'm going to fix it." And I said, "We know what we got wrong. We're going to fix it. We're going to make this thing work. And when we make it work, you come back and you interview me and ask me what I got right." So I went on, did ITV, did the whole lot. And then I went out into the van, the radio van, and I was doing down the line to, I don't know, Radio 4 or something like that. And the technician in the van, he's handing me the earphones, and he said, "We'll be on in a minute." And he said, "I was listening to your interview inside." And he said, "God, that was really brave of you." And I said, "What?" And that classic, yes, Prime Minister, yes, Minister, brave decision. I thought, oh no. And he said, yeah, he said, "Can't believe you actually said that." He said, "Business leaders don't admit that they got things wrong." And I remember sitting in the van with the earphones on, waiting for the interviewer to come on. And I thought, God, have I made a mistake here? And I just felt, actually, no, I hadn't. It was the right thing to do. And it took all the pressure off my team, because, and I said that to them. I said, "Look, guys, I've said I've made the mistake. So I said, the focus is on me. You guys fix it, and we'll figure out who got it wrong when we've time, and we'll relax. We'll fix this. We've got to fix it. So let's fix it." And I got a bit of flack from people because they said, "You should have blamed the airport because it wasn't all our fault." And I said, "I know it wasn't our fault. But I said, if I blame the airport, they're going to get pissed off, and we need them to fix it with us." So I said, there was no point in me. I would have loved to have said this was all Heathrow's fault. And the truth is, it was more their fault than it was BA's fault. But we had got things wrong.